I never read stories about young Black girls that felt like they captured the nuances of Black girlhood. Nightcrawling follows Kiara, a 17-year-old Black girl living in Oakland, California, when she finds herself involved with a network of police officers who sexually exploit her. And the book follows the investigation and its aftermath, and really these young people and their lives and their attempts to survive and find agency in a world that can make that very difficult. Beyond being from Oakland, beyond it being my hometown, I think that a lot of what I wanted to do is change the narrative that we have around Oakland. I grew up hearing a lot of stories about Oakland as a violent place or a place crime-ridden, and I think a huge section of what Oakland is and the people who live there are missing from that narrative, and so I wanted to create a world that encompasses all of what Oakland is and is able to hold both the love of this city and also critiques of it. And so that's part of the reason why it's set in Oakland. And then the other reason is because one of the cases that this book is inspired by what took place in Oakland, and I think it's important for the context of the story that we understand the specific relationship between policing and the city. We've been having discourses on policing and police violence for decades, since the first iteration of the police as an institution. But in the recent 5-10 years, we've experienced this kind of move of those conversations into a more mainstream place where more people are willing to engage in those conversations, partially because of the pressure of social media and the internet and kind of the performative nature of politics, but because it has become such a part of these conversations that we're having on a more regular basis, it's that much more important that we recognize the ways in which that conversation neglects portions of what policing and police violence do. And a huge part that is often missing is the particular impact of policing on Black women and Black girls and how it looks different, and the ways in which we don't protect Black women and girls. And so part of the contribution I wanted to make to this conversation and the expansion of it is looking at how does policing impact young girls. So Nightcrawling is set in Oakland, and I was 17, a 17-year-old Black girl in Oakland at the time that I was writing it. So there's a good portion of the book that is based in my own experience and the experiences of those around me. But then I think a huge part of what I had to do was kind of research the history of police sexual violence and the history of sex work and make sure that it was all true to this character. And I spent a lot of time journaling as Kiara and kind of trying to get inside of her head because this book does follow her so closely that it was necessary for me to understand kind of all of the ins and outs of her experience. I never read stories about young Black girls that felt like they captured the nuances of Black girlhood and felt like they respected the complicated nature of being a teenager, and also recognized the ways in which so many Black children are forced into adulthood before we are adults. And so I wanted to write a book that added that into the kind of common narrative on Black girls and Black childhood.